when we feel frustrated, overwhelmed, sometimes we feel really anxious, or we feel stuck or bored, sometimes distracted, right? So there are many other reactions that we keep having or keep giving, and we sometimes feel that even physically, like we have our headaches or we have our back aches, sometimes we feel a stiff body, so which means that these are all symptoms and signs of stress, and it's not something which is unique. We are all going through it. Many times we are experiencing it. So why is it that we experience this, and what is it all about? So for that, I need to now show you what many philosophers have spoken about when they talk about stress. Please let me know if you can see my PowerPoint. I've just about shared it with you. Is it visible to all of you?
Not yet. Yeah, now I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when we talk about stress and then we are experiencing it, it's actually just a response of our body and our mind to the challenges and the demands of life. And we are continuously faced with those challenges, continuously faced with those demands. So we are always trying to get our resources to meet those challenges, get our internal resources to meet those demands, whatever it may be that we have. And many a times we feel, in fact, that we cannot control the stress that we are experiencing. It gets too much for us. But today we are going to recognize scientifically what these spiritual traditions have always been talking about. If you read these quotes very carefully, you will understand that there is a pattern when it comes to understanding stress. So, Srimad Bhagavad Gita says that the mind is the reason for liberation, and the mind is also the reason for bondage. Epictetus, the famous philosopher, says that people are disturbed not by things, but by the view they take of them. And again, Maureen Killoran, who is a leading lawyer in America, she says that stress is not what happens to us, it's our response to what happens. And our response is something we can choose. So, when we say that we are experiencing stress, therefore, it is the creation of our own mind, and it's not something that is only there in the situation, which means that we can have a choice of how we respond to those situations. Now, to illustrate this point, I will share with you the story of the Buddha and the child. How does this story go? Once a child asks his mom, "Who is that gentleman sitting under the tree on a hill?" She replies that it is Lord Buddha. And Lord Buddha is someone who has answers to all the questions of the universe. Now the child is curious and wants to test Lord Buddha. So the child catches a butterfly and cups it gently. He approaches Buddha and, keeping his hands behind his back, he asks Buddha, "Is the thing in my hand alive or is it dead?" So if he says alive, the kid thinks that he's going to crush the butterfly. And if he says it's dead, then he will release it and show the Buddha that in both the ways he is wrong. And so, which means that he doesn't have answers to all the questions of the universe. Okay. So, thus he is satisfied that, he's proven his point in some way. But what happens here is Buddha opens his eyes, he nods his head, and then replies to his question, "My dear child, the answer lies in your own hands." So, which means how we deal with stress is connected to how we create our internal resources, and that lies in our hands. That is when we come to the concept of mindfulness meditation. So, I just want to know, my dear colleagues, if the slides are visible to you. Can you see these hands? Can you see the slide of the story of Buddha?
No,
It's not moving. This is something that I've noticed for the past
Only
few
first
days.
slide is same.
Only the first slide is
yes,
visible.
yes, only the first slide.
Okay. I will try to share it. In case the slideshow doesn't work, then I would request you all to just go with the flow of whatever I'm saying, because there is a possibility that it may not be working. The PowerPoint may not be working properly. So now, is the slide visible? what we will cover in the workshop? Is it visible?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, what are we going to cover in this particular workshop? First of all, what is mindfulness meditation? As a concept, we are going to understand it. We are going to see how it calms us down, releases us from stress. It kind of creates a headspace for us so that we can build those internal resources. Then, we are going to briefly touch upon some of the benefits of mindfulness meditation in managing stress. And then, of course, we are going to come to the crux of this entire workshop, these exercises that we can actually do for practice. Now, I must tell you that please do not sleep or be very sleepy when you are doing these exercises, because once you learn them today in the class or today in the workshop, you can actually practice them at home any day or maybe all days of the week. Okay, so that is why I want you to be alert, absolutely alert. At the very beginning, I'm cautioning all of you that when we are really tired, we feel sleepy, but try to stay as alert as possible when we are doing these exercises. And then finally, we are going to come to incorporating mindfulness in daily life. Okay, so now let's turn to this quote which has been written by a Vietnamese monk called Thich Nhat Hanh in his book called Being Peace, where he has written it very beautifully. Breathing in, I calm my body and mind. Breathing out, I smile. Dwelling in the present moment, I know this is the only moment. So, this is a very, very important quote where the present moment is absolutely essential when we are doing mindfulness meditation. Your past, your future, any other thought does not matter. It should not be given any importance when we are doing mindfulness. So, what is this concept of mindfulness meditation? Are you all able to see the slide?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
First of all, mindfulness is an approach to self care. It's a skill that absolutely anyone can learn. And what does it eventually do? It increases our capacity to bear stress. And all of us want that. But let me also give a disclaimer here that many a times people feel that if I do meditation, my stress will go away. It doesn't go away. You cannot eliminate it or even reduce the real challenges that you experience. But of course, you can increase your own inner resources while dealing with stress. And of course, if you are experiencing some medical condition, you cannot replace medicine or treatment by mindfulness meditation. You'll have to go through your treatment, but at the same time, think of this as a supplement to whatever you are currently doing, so as to ease some of your pain or burden that you may experience. So, what is it that we need to do here? How do you pay attention? Paying attention to your internal state in the present moment is the key to meditation. The present moment is important. Like, just imagine that you are watching a river streaming down while you walk the river bank. You don't dip your feet into the river. You don't get lost in thought. You don't get lost in feeling, but you come back gently to the here and now. This moment is very important. Every time, the present moment is going to be important. So you don't have to judge or analyze what you're thinking or feeling or whatever else, but you have to experience what is called sakshi bhav. So what is sakshi bhav? You are just a witness, an objective witness. You're not drowning in the thought, you're not drowning in the feeling, you're not going to be distracted. Your mind may be distracted, yes, certainly, because our mind is it's a very natural tendency of every mind to be distracted. Like a monkey, it will keep squirming, it will keep jumping to different things. Okay, there are so many judgments that we have and so many thoughts about what to do today, but you have to then understand that when you maintain a sakshi bhav, you don't dip your feet in the river, you don't drown into it, you just keep gently coming back to the river bank and keep walking. So that is what this meditation is. So it's necessary to keep that objective perspective so that you see yourself just as a spectator, a witness. That's all. Okay. And then finally, we have to understand that it is all right to think. There's no harm, but you have to remember that all throughout the exercises that we do, you have to use your breath as an anchor to come back. Okay, there must be some kind of point which you should use, like a breath. Sometimes you could use a mantra or whatever else that you want to, but you have to use that anchoring point to come back to the state of mindful meditation. Okay, so that you can sustain your sakshi bhav. I hope this point is clear to you. So this is what is expected. But of course, before we proceed any further, uh, I would like to point out or show you that there are certain essential attitudes of mindfulness meditation. So, what are those essential attitudes that we are going to discuss? First of all, you have to know that although I'm giving them as very separate ones, they are all interconnected. So let us look at each one of them separately, but also understand that as you keep practicing mindfulness, one will be there with the other. They are all like friends, they are all inseparable. Okay. So, first of all, is non judging, which means that you are supposed to be open hearted, be compassionate, be aware. It's something where you just cultivate your own experience of observing yourself, but don't judge. This is good, this is bad, this is pleasant, this is unpleasant. Don't get into all that judging. It's a habit for all of us to get into judging and analyzing ourselves. It's an automatic response. Okay, it's a reaction pattern that we all get into, but it in fact increases our problems when you think too much about yourself and what you're thinking and what you're feeling and why and so on. So instead of that, your job today, and in fact when you practice it later on also, is to simply notice your own mind body without trying to rid yourself of any kind of judgment. In fact, don't even try to bother why you are judging. Just notice that there is something. There is some kind of judgment, thought which is present, and we can learn new ways of relating to it. But we have to understand that when we practice non judging, when we practice letting go, what will happen is eventually we can choose a response, as we had said earlier, rather than simply react unconsciously to it. Sometimes, you can think of your mind as a bright blue sky, and this sky is this all encompassing, it's hugging everything, all kinds of thinking, feeling, sensations. It's just embracing almost everything, like clouds that keep coming and going, keep coming and going. So those clouds are nothing but your thoughts, feelings, sensations. Let them come and go. You're just supposed to notice them like the sky. That's all. Now, the next attitude is being a beginner. So, you have to keep a beginner's mind. For this, I'd like to share a short story. There was once a university professor who had gone to a Buddhist monk and a Zen monk who went and asked him that I would like to learn Zen Buddhism or meditation from you. So the Zen monk did not speak anything at all in the beginning, and he said that I would like to offer you tea. So he had placed a cup, and in the cup he kept pouring the tea, and he kept pouring the tea until it started overflowing. And then the professor asked him, "What are you doing?" And then the monk said that you are like this cup, my dear. You're already full. You're already full with this idea that I know much. I know so much. I don't need to meditate. Yeah. If you want to learn meditation, you have to empty yourself, become an empty cup, and begin fresh. Experience each moment as if it is happening for the first time inside of you. You have to always be a beginner there. Okay. And trust, please, this is very important, that you trust that you can see and feel clearly what is happening to you. You can be authentically yourself because you know your mind body very well. You don't need an external expert to tell you what is happening inside of you. So you have to trust that you have the ability to see yourself clearly. The next is non striving. So, what is striving and what is non striving? For this, we need to understand that all of us have a lot of expectations from other people, from ourselves. We keep trying hard to do something, to prove something. We want to be something, or we want things to turn out in a certain way. We always have a lot of expectations. But what happens as a result of that? We are pressurizing ourselves. We are constantly striving. Now, when you practice mindfulness in your life, you will observe that you are going to start relaxing. You will relax into your experiences, allowing whatever is happening to happen. Let the waves come in on the surface of the ocean And the silent depths will remain as they are. They will not be disturbed within you. You will not be moved by these waves that keep coming and going. You will recognize that there are these kinds of expectations which are rising in you, like the waves, the thoughts which rise and then they pass. Okay, so this is the kind of attitude which you need to generate when you actually practice it. Then acceptance means seeing things as they are rather than what you think they should be. So you believe my mind should be peaceful. When you say that to yourself, that means you're not accepting what is happening to you. If you're distracted, you accept, I'm distracted right now. And then you move on. Gently bring your mind back to your original state of Sakshi Bhav. Okay? You will have to understand that when you see things clearly, really as they are, exactly as they are, that are happening inside of you, rather than you thinking about how they should be, that is when you will start accepting. And when you start accepting, you will understand that things happen, they come and go like cars which are passing on the street. They come and go, and you're just sitting there as a witness and looking at those cars coming and going. You're not going to stop any car from coming or going. So that is what acceptance is. Okay, it will help you slowly clear your vision which has been clouded by these kind of judgments or your fear or desire or any of those things. And finally, letting go. So we hold on to a lot of ideas and views about ourselves, others, these expectations that I told you we have. So these ideas, they start becoming clear to us slowly, and the water which becomes so muddy, it starts settling down, and slowly we can see clear water at the surface as we keep doing meditation. Okay, so you will be able to see what is it that you like, don't like, what is it that is unpleasant to you, but without really judging it. So these are the essential attitudes you'll have to remember, that you'll have to learn to adopt in your own life while you are practicing meditation or mindfulness. Now, many a times people feel that mindfulness is the same as relaxation, but is it really so? The answer is no. There are quite a lot of differences between the two. First of all, when we talk about mindfulness, it's a way of life. These attitudes can be incorporated in the way we do things, feel about things. Even when you're sweeping the floor, or you washing your utensils, you can still be mindful. You can be completely present in that moment without really bothering about other things or thinking about other things. Okay, so if your mind is distracted thinking about other things while you're washing your utensils, get it back to the washing. That is what mindfulness is. Whereas relaxation is a technique which is designed to reduce stress. But mindfulness is not really designed to reduce stress, it's just a way of being. Secondly, you will also observe that when you experience relaxation, you may not really have a deeper self understanding. But when you are mindful, you are also aware, because the Sakshi Bhav is continuously there in you. You keep that stream going. You're walking behind, or sorry, you're walking next to that stream which is continuously flowing. And when you talk about mindfulness versus relaxation, when you do relaxation, if you go to a psychologist, for example, and you go for a body muscle relaxation, that is the only goal for a psychologist. But when you're doing mindfulness, relaxation could be the result, but it is not the goal of meditation. Please understand this. And then finally, what is the difference between these two? In mindfulness, we see our internal states as objects of observation. Okay, you are an external party who is just watching over what is happening inside of you. It's like that you are separating yourself. When you do this, you do not experience suffering. You are not drowned into your experience. You understand that you are much more than your thoughts and your feelings. You are a separate being. Okay, you are not your thoughts. But when you are doing relaxation, you are just focusing on reducing your negative feelings. In mindfulness, in fact, we accept all kinds of feelings that come, whether they are positive ones or negative ones. We attach the value positive or negative based on how pleasant or unpleasant it is. So mindfulness will avoid doing that. There are several benefits of mindfulness. As you can see, it catalyzes growth. It can help us develop a better perspective. we can live happily in a healthy way, and it can reduce some of the intensity of the pains and aches that we may experience. And in fact, sometimes you may wonder how did the pain vanish, but it can. And sometimes it can even reduce the intensity of your emotions, but at the same time you will be comfortable with the range of emotions that you have, and you will understand that this is what I have been experiencing. Okay, so now let us come to the most important part of this workshop, which is the mindfulness meditation exercises. So right now I'm going to begin with the first of these exercises, which is called sitting meditation. Now for this, I want all of you to be seated comfortably in a chair. Shall I begin?
Yes.
Yeah. So, this exercise is more like getting into the mode of mindfulness meditation, understanding how to do it. And for this, you need to be at ease. Just relax yourself. If you have any bag or whatever with you, just keep it beneath or keep it next to you. Don't carry anything on your body right now. Sit comfortably and let us begin. Sit comfortably at ease in your chair right now. Your eyes can be closed or half closed. Allow your attention to rest on your experience of your body in the chair. Notice the areas of contact between your body and the chair. Notice the support the chair is offering you right now. Become aware that the chair is supporting your body by carrying your weight. Allow this to happen. Allow a comfortable sense of heaviness to spread through your body. Allow the chair to support you. Now, notice the rise and fall of breath. In breath, out breath, in, out. Notice any tension you are holding within your body, the neck, shoulders, down the arms, the weight of your head. Notice any tension in your back, down the spine, in your lower back, legs, ankles, feet. Notice any tension in your belly or your chest. Each time you notice any tightness or difficulty in these different parts of your body, Allow it to drain into your chair. Be absorbed by your chair. Just rest in this experience of being supported by the chair. Whenever you feel anxious or unsupported or lonely, you can return to this practice of breathing in, breathing out, and relaxing in your chair. Rest for a moment in this experience. Feel the joy of this experience. Feel how you are being supported. Now, slowly open your eyes. Slowly open your eyes. Open your eyes. So, my dear colleagues, whenever we feel anxious, when you're feeling unsupported, lonely, this practice can really help you to feel this nourishment, this reciprocal nourishment, this caring, support in relation to being cared and supported. And this exercise can be done regularly to ease your tension wherever you are. You will feel refreshed whenever you are doing this exercise. See, might have observed that it doesn't take more than 10 minutes to do it. But doing this is so refreshing and relaxing, and you can do it just about any time, absolutely any time during the day. Particularly so when you are feeling a sense of being bogged down, you can definitely try this out. Okay, now we will proceed to starting another exercise, which is called mindful breathing. It's called mindful breathing, and you can do it absolutely anywhere you like, and you can do it regularly. You can do it while you're doing your work, also, your regular chores like sweeping or washing, or you can also do it while you're eating your food. Okay, but when particularly you are doing this kind of mindful breathing right now, I'm going to use a very specific guided instruction for you so that you understand how to go about yourself doing it in the flow. Okay, so again, be comfortable wherever you are sitting. I'm going to start giving you the instructions. Find a comfortable sitting position. Slowly close your eyes or keep them half closed. Do not focus on any point. Just gaze at an invisible spot in front of you. It is important that your back is straight and your neck and head well supported by your sitting position and your back. The back should be in alignment and relaxed, not perfectly straight. Take a few moments to feel into your body and allow any tension to be released. Now, place your attention on your breathing. Notice how your in breath begins. Breathe through your nose. Imagine the breath entering your body, the chest, just below the nose, the throat, the belly. Observe. Once you have imagined the point of entry of your in breath, keep it for the rest of your sitting practice. Notice how, at the end of the in breath, the breath naturally starts to descend. Follow the breath down with your attention until it reaches the depths of your belly. Notice a point of stillness. Notice a point of space. Be aware of how the breath rises once again on the in breath and the cycle begins again. You may say while breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. You may then notice, I know I am breathing a long breath or a slow breath, a smooth or a harsh one. Notice your breathing. Focus on breathing itself, nothing else. Distractions from your mind may arise many times. Simply notice that you have become distracted. It could be a sensation or a thought. Say to yourself at that time, thinking, and then return to your breath gently. Slowly, we learn that thoughts are just thoughts. Remember to keep noticing your in breath and your out breath. See how it enters you. See how it is released from your body. In, out. When it is releasing from your body, you can keep your mouth slightly open. In, out. In, out. You may count from 1 to 5. 1 for in breath, 2 for out breath, 3, 4, 5. Slowly open your eyes. Open your eyes. So, what we have seen through this particular exercise is that your thoughts are going to come and they are going to go. You are supposed to understand that it is our attachment to these thoughts and our emotions that makes us feel so distressed and so disturbed. So much of our emotional distress occurs when we get lost in these kinds of thoughts, and we keep rethinking those thoughts again and again. We go back to them again and again. And that is why we keep escalating our own negative feelings. So when you come back to the object of your attention, which is breathing, you will realize that when you gently bring yourself back to your breathing, these kind of thoughts will, on their own, they will dissipate. Okay. So that is also something very, very important. Now, we'll shift to another exercise, which is something which is absolutely essential in today's times when we see so much of hatred around us, and we see so much of envy. Sometimes we are very dissatisfied with our own bodies or with our own minds, or how we have thought in that situation or what we have spoken, and continuously those thoughts may come to us. We have so many doubts at times about ourselves. We feel bad about how we are thinking. We resent certain things or even certain people. We feel so angry towards somebody, right? So those resentments, they keep brewing in our minds every day, again and again. They keep coming back to us. So, the kind of exercise that we are going to do now is actually going to help us be kind to ourselves and also to others. This is a very special technique of meditation which is called loving kindness meditation. It can be really difficult to show kindness towards certain people who may at times be giving us a tough time or who are challenging us, which is causing us a lot of stress at that moment. So we have to begin to realize that if we keep practicing this loving kindness meditation, we don't just be kind to others, but slowly over a period of time, we learn to be kind to ourselves too. When we will let go of certain thoughts which are challenging us, which are disturbing us again and again, or which are creating these kinds of doubts. So, we create a space through loving kindness meditation so that we can let go of that resentment. We can gently and warmly develop the kind of acceptance which I told you about. Your mind is like this blue, vast sky that is opening its arms to all kinds of clouds which are coming and going. So your mind is all embracing of just about any sensation, feeling, or thought that may arise. So now let us come to the next exercise, which I have just introduced to you all, called loving kindness meditation. So again, sit comfortably with your body and shoulders relaxed. Relax. Take some time to connect with the rhythm of your in breath and out breath. Allow this rhythm to help relax. Allow your body to relax. Allow a memory or an image of being given kindness, however small, to arise. Notice where these memories or images touch you in your body. Notice the sensations in your body, opening, softening. Let the in breath touch these sensations, and the out breath open the sensations further. Allow these sensations to expand until they fill your whole being. Allow these feelings and sensations connected to kindness envelope your body, envelope your mind. Become aware that you are being filled with loving kindness. Let yourself bask in this energy of loving kindness. Breathing it in, breathing it out. As if this kindness is a lifeline, offering you nourishment that you were longing for. Invite feelings of peacefulness, invite acceptance and peace to be present in you. You can say to yourself, may I be free from hatred. May I be free from suffering. May I be happy. Once you have created a center of loving kindness, you can go there, take refuge, drink at this renewing and nourishing well. Having established the well of loving kindness within your being, you can let loving kindness radiate out, direct it wherever you like. You might like to direct it first to members of your family or your friends. Visualize them, send them loving kindness. You can direct loving kindness towards anyone, those you know and those you do not know. You can also direct loving kindness to those you are having difficulty with. Finally, you can direct loving kindness energy to all beings and the universe itself. Now, slowly open your eyes. Open your eyes. This loving kindness meditation can be practiced by us, particularly at a time when we are feeling really very angry towards somebody, or when we have extremely aggressive thoughts, even towards our own selves. You can take a seat, just practice saying this to yourself. May I be free of hatred. May I be free of judgment. May I be happy. Okay? If you want, you can write your own poem down of loving kindness meditation and you can practice saying it to yourself. All right? So now we will move to our fourth technique, which is called noting technique. So, noting is a technique that you can use particularly at those times when you feel really frustrated or you're anxious, you feel overwhelmed. Abhi ye bhi karna hai, wo bhi karna hai, lots of things to be done. So, it will help you step out of this thinking mode, and the kind of stress that we experience at that time, slowly you will begin to see that it is going away, it is releasing. At that point of time, you will feel more comfortable with your different emotions, even the ones which you are finding very difficult to manage. It will create a sense of balance in you. So let us see what this technique is. What is noting? So when I say the word noting, it means that you are supposed to identify what distracts you from your meditative state. Gently return to your breathing, acknowledge that there is distraction, and then let it go. Again, come back to your breathing. Your breathing is your anchor. Okay, so now I think we should begin this particular exercise. So you have to remember the values which I had spoken about, or the attitudes which are acceptance and acknowledgement. So those you have to keep in mind when you are doing meditation. So now I'm going to begin the technique called noting. Be comfortable. Sit in a place where you're not disturbed. Don't get caught up in judgment or criticism. Now, slowly start focusing on everything around you. Breathe in through the nose. Notice your out breath through the mouth. Gently close your eyes. Pause to enjoy the feeling. Feel the weight of your body press down. Be aware of your space around, the sounds around you. Notice any resistance from you to those sounds. Allow sounds, allow thoughts to come and go. Let go of resistance. As you begin to take notice of how the body is feeling, see whether it is heavy or light or still or agitated. Just notice how it feels. Notice the movement of your breath, rising and falling. Where in the body do you feel this movement? No need to breathe in a special way. If you can't feel the movement, just gently touch your stomach. Notice your breath. Follow the movement. You can count the movements. 1, in breath. 2, out breath. Count up to 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Stay with that moment. No effort. Just breathe when you realize you are being distracted. Pause, acknowledge it, note it, and then let it go. Bring attention to your breath. It's natural for the mind to wander. Acknowledge it, note it, label it as thinking. Let it go. Come back to your breath. Note only those moments when you are getting lost in thought. Don't try to acknowledge all thoughts, all distractions. Note, acknowledge, come back to breath. Let go of focus. Let your mind do whatever it wants to do. Gently bring your attention back to your body, the feeling of weight, the sounds around you, the space around you. When you are ready, you can open your eyes gently. Pause to notice how your body and mind feels. Take a moment to notice with your eyes open how your body and mind feels. Okay. So this is the kind of exercise that all of you can do almost every day. And this noting exercise is something which is considered to be one of the best forms of exercise for stress management. So what were the exercises that we did today? I'm quickly going to run through them. We did sitting meditation, which is the chair technique. So your chair is your support system. The reciprocal support that I had spoken about is what we did. Then we did mindful breathing. And breathing is always the starting point of any meditation and also the end point of it. So mindful breathing is something you can do just about while doing any of your chores or activities. Loving kindness meditation is something you should do particularly at those times when you have extremely unpleasant thoughts and feelings about yourself or about someone. When you feel that this feeling should end, this thought is coming to me again and again. And finally, we did noting technique of coming back to our breath, coming back to our breath, and simply noting that I've thought this, I've felt this, but then you just don't judge it, let it be. Let it come, you note it, label it as thought, come back to your breath. Okay. So these were the ones we did today. This is an example of a mindful poem that has been written by Thich Nhat Hanh. You can also write a poem for yourself, make it your own personal poem. He has written something like this: I have arrived, I am home, I am in the here, I am in the now, I am solid, I am free, in the ultimate I dwell. There are also certain very good books which are written by Thich Nhat Hanh, which you can read. If you want, then you can personally message me and I can recommend you certain names. Now, how do we incorporate mindfulness in daily life? First of all, as you can see here, this is called savoring. Any food that you eat, you begin first by a prayer before you eat the food. Calm yourself down, Keep all your distractions away, whether it is TV, cell phone, talking, reading. Keep everything away and focus entirely on the food that you are eating, and eat it very, very slowly after you have prayed. When you're eating your food, also chew it very slowly, savor every taste that is coming in your mouth and feel it in every part of your mouth, and then you will swallow. Okay. And when you practice savoring regularly, which means you are mindfully eating your food, you will also recognize that the savoring helps you to stop eating too much and eat more mindfully. You will also experience a better state of satiety. If you are into stress eating, then that habit will slowly reduce over a period of time. The second technique is walking meditation. You can do this particularly on weekends or when you are free, when you are going to the park for a walk, or when you are going for a vacation. Also at that time you could practice this. When you walk extremely slowly barefoot, and when you are walking, you don't simply walk, you don't walk to go anywhere, you're walking just to experience the pleasure of walking very, very slowly. Just see how your foot is touching the ground. See how your breath is coming in and going out of your body. And that's what it is all about. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to get anything. You have no goal. And this kind of walking meditation is not about doing, but about being in the current here and now state. So, this is something you can do in your regular life. And lastly, gratitude prayer. So every day before going to bed, the last half an hour of your day, just about half an hour before you go to sleep, keep all your devices away from you, from your body, and say this prayer where you are thankful to people around you who have helped you through the day, those things which have happened nicely. You ask yourself this question: what were the good things that happened today to me? So, when you are experiencing gratitude, you also feel calmer, you feel happier, and that is something you can do. You can write your own gratitude prayer and read it out every night, or you can do something like maybe write down on a piece of paper, or if you have your personal diary, writing down in that diary about the things that you are really thankful about today. It could be as simple as I'm thankful that I have a meal on my plate, or it could be as simple as today I'm breathing. Yeah. And still it is a gratitude prayer. It doesn't have to necessarily be a grand act of somebody saving your life or helping you out of the distress. It could be a very, very simple thing, but you are thankful about what is happening to you. So, with this, my dear colleagues, this particular workshop is over, and whatever points I had to discuss, I had discussed with you all. Now, I keep it open in case you have any doubts, difficulties, questions, and you want to say something. Yeah, but before that, I would like to say that right now, if it is possible for you, it may not be possible for all, but if it is possible for the next 1 hour, I want you to maintain silence. So what it means is that if you want to say something, you can say it with some kind of sign language. But as far as possible, if it is possible for you, of course, you will maintain silence for 1 hour. And if any one of you can stretch it to another 3 hours, that would be even like perfect, because you will then be in that experience, in that sensation of mindfulness for a long time. Does anyone have to say anything? Ask right now.
Swati ma'am,
Yes,
see, you were saying that stress is usually caused because how we react to situations, right?
yes, yes.
Is overthinking also a kind of reaction or just a habit?
It's a habit. It was initially a reaction, but slowly over a period of time, it became a habit. And now it is so automatic that you just switch it on and it just starts by itself.
Yeah, yeah,
So, in order to do away with your automatic thought processes or your reactions or habits, if you practice mindfulness, you will be able to see when it starts. That's the
right,
beauty of mindfulness. You will be able to see when it is arising. And once you can see certain things, they become clearer to you.
right.
I would, if you all don't mind, I would like to share a small story with you all. Is it okay if I share that story? Some of
Yes.
you who are like busy, or you who have some work, can of course, you all have shared this with me, you all can leave. But if you all don't mind, I would like to share a very interesting story of a saint guru called Nagarjun. Some of you might have heard it already. So this person called Nagarjun was a renowned saint scholar who was living in ancient India, moving from home to home. He did not have a house of his own. You know how it is in Indian tradition. He used to go from house to house for alms, where people used to give him some kind of food like rice or dal or something like that. Whatever he used to get, he used to come home, cook, and eat it. And he was happy with it. But one day he went to a home where a lady said that, I would like to offer you something. Please don't refuse. This is something that is really meaningful to us. It's a gift from us to you. So then Nagarjun said, okay, whatever it is, I'll accept as it is. And then that lady gifted him rather, a golden amulet. Okay. It was beautiful, studded with so many diamonds and wonderful gems. It looked very nice. But Nagarjun simply said, thank you. I really honor the fact that you have gifted me something. And he kept it back in his joli, and he started walking home. Now, there was a thief who was watching him from the corner of a street, and when the thief saw Nagarjun, he knew that there is something which is shining, which is bright inside this man's bag. And he wondered what this man has, you know. But when he looked closely, he saw that there is something golden and it's studded. And of course, as a thief would think, he was obviously tempted to steal it. So, what did the thief do? He did not want to fight this man because this man was someone who was revered, respected by everyone in society. So, what the thief did was he waited for Nagarjun to go to his hut, to his home. Nagarjun went home. As expected, by evening, he cooked a meal for himself and he was just about to go to sleep. At that time, the thief waited and he felt that when Nagarjun goes to sleep, I will go inside his hut and quickly steal that amulet and go away. That's all. That my work is done, right? But to his surprise, Nagarjun threw that golden amulet outside his window, which means that he knew that there is a thief who was following him all day and who was also waiting for Nagarjun to go to sleep so that he could steal this amulet. So, which means that it was very, very clear to the thief that Nagarjun was aware about him and his intentions. Now, what happened later is that this thief, uh, he was now very curious. Like, who is this man? How did he know what is happening in my mind? So he went to his hut, and he was surprised to see that Nagarjun, with a wide smile, welcomed him inside his hut. And the thief was really perplexed. How could Nagarjun do something like that? Doesn't he know that I am a thief? So Nagarjun said that, of course, I know that you are a thief, and that is why I threw that amulet for you. So he said, how come? So he said, I knew from the very beginning that you were following me and that you wanted it and you were tempted by it. So then what is it that I can do for you? Is what Nagarjun said. I've already thrown the amulet. Why are you here? So he said, I'm really curious to know about someone like you. Like, what is it that gives you so much of power to, throw away something so precious, which is made of gold and stones? I was really curious. So Nagarjun said that I don't do anything special. I'm just aware of what I do all the time. I'm just aware, that's all. So the thief said, that I would like to try this out. So Nagarjun said, why not? So Nagarjun told him, just do this exercise for one entire day. Whatever you do, from the very moment when you get up to the very moment when you go to sleep, you are supposed to be aware. But the thief instantly said, don't ask me to stop stealing. That's my job. Nagarjun said, have I asked you to do that? I'm accepting you as you are, right? I'm not asking you to stop your job. It's your job. Okay. But then be aware from the very beginning, from the morning till the night, for an entire day of what you are doing. So Nagarjun started doing it. That thief started doing it. And when he started doing it, he realized that he himself refrained from those things which were disturbing him. He stopped doing those things which he would have otherwise do. He went into a man's home and he wanted to open his locker and, steal that whatever gold and silver was there inside the locker, but he couldn't do it. And then he came back to Nagarjuna and he fought with him and said, "What have you asked me to do? Now, because of the fact that you have asked me to be aware of every moment when I'm thinking something, when I'm feeling something, I have stopped stealing. It was my habit earlier, but I have not been able to continue that habit any further." So, this is the story which actually illustrates the point that sometimes we may have habits, but when you bring your awareness into it, that habit will cease itself and we will be more aware of what we are doing, more mindful of what we are doing. So I think Leela ma'am, this is what I was trying to say.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. So I thank all of you for attending today's workshop. It wouldn't have been possible without all of you actively participating. I hope and pray that this workshop really helps you to integrate mindfulness in your personal life every day. That's all from my side. Anything else that you want to say or share?
When will be the next workshop?
I have not planned
Upgrade
anything
it,
of that
upgrade
sort.
it.
I have not planned anything
Whenever
of
you
that
plan,
sort.
you please let me know.
Yeah,
Whenever you
sure,
plan,
sure,
you
sure,
please let me know. Okay?
sure. Okay,
Felt
definitely.
very nice. Felt very nice.
Thank you, ma'am.
I followed your instructions, which usually I don't. But I followed your instructions.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Felt
for
very
following
nice.
those instructions. Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Welcome. Okay, goodbye, all of you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.